So the reason I chose the MFA in Theatre Directing at the Lir Academy, there were a couple of reasons. First off, it was the only course that I could find that was 1 year long, which had a huge attraction because kind of coming out of the industry, I was sort of reluctant to give up a sort of chunk of 3 years and then attempt to get back into it. So it felt like it was a sort of a short, sharp shock of sort of intense study, and you kind of continue the momentum of your own working life rather than feel that you're kind of isolated for a long time. But actually, one of the great things about the Lir is that it's so interconnected with the industry. It's so supported both by industry professionals, and you're doing your course alongside other specializations in other MFAs. So on our course, on the overall MFA course, there were playwrights and designers who you're building ongoing professional relationships with. And so at the moment I'm working with one of the playwrights who came out of the course. We're doing a show in a couple of weeks. I'm working with another designer who I met on the course. So you kind of build up these industry contacts just from working and studying and making work together. Another reason that I was so attracted to the theatre directing course was sort of its intensity. Like that 1 year doesn't sound like a long time, but it is so packed. You are working constantly, non-stop, and that was very attractive as well, because it was one of those opportunities, I suppose, to really, really sharpen the work that you do, because you've no other option. You just have to kind of go for it. Like you arrive on the first day, and I think by the next day we were kind of getting scenes up on their feet. It was really full on. And Annabelle Common, who's the course director, she is incredibly rigorous in terms of what she kind of draws from the cohort. And then you're working alongside a very small group of other directors. So on our course there were 4 total, which meant that there's a great sense of sort of camaraderie, but also a healthy amount of competition, that you're kind of pushing each other. So you're producing work every single week. So you kind of very quickly run out of any tricks that you might have up your sleeve, and you really have to, dig deep, and like the others will call you up on it and say, you did something a bit like that last week, or I don't know if that was the best thing you've ever done, which is great, because if you have that kind of that sort of sounding board in your professional community, I mean, that's something that I think will keep. Like I still call up the others and I'm like, I'm doing this thing and I don't know what I'm doing, and there's a great sense of kind of infrastructure around you. And then on top of that, the entire teaching staff are all industry professionals as well, so you're not being taught by, I don't want to say like stuffy academics, but it's not, for a learning environment, it's incredibly practical. So all of the directors who direct here are directing out in the world. All the scenography tutors and the scenic designers, and they're all working professionals. So those industry links, it's not like suddenly you're making this giant leap once you leave here, because you've made all those connections all the way along. So really you're just reinforcing connections that you've made throughout. So it's incredibly well connected. It's like this sort of web that just kind of keeps on going, which is great, because you don't feel like you're in this little pocket that suddenly you have to break out of again. So that was one of the main reasons. And I suppose the idea that you're working as sort of a cohort. So it's like a little model of a theatre company. Like the Lir itself, by the time we got around to doing our final productions, we were sort of 4 independent theatre companies with an entire staff of people and a support system that the Lir sort of facilitated, which was terrific.